Thomas. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, everybody, welcome. It is David Thomas, and I have Mr. Jay Youll with me. We're going to be doing your 10 minutes of motivation, inspiration, and education for the week. These videos, if you aren't familiar, if you really just haven't been tuning in, they are to help you become a better person, a better leader, a better employer, a better employee, a better trader, a better builder, a better chairman, anything that your goals are. We want to help you become that. And where that starts is always up in the air. That's always where it starts. And so we're going to talk about a little bit about that today. And actually today we're going to be getting, kind of down in the weeds a little bit, because usually, we're talking we're talking about mindset and things like that. But today we're going to get kind of in the technicals and talk to you about how if you just add 2 hours to your day of productivity, how it can absolutely change your life. I mean, and you're going to be saying, yeah, well, where do I find these 2 hours? Well, we're going to show you. All right. So don't worry. But it's been calculated that 2 extra hours per day of investment time, right? Not just, doing something without any kind of goal or anything like that. Well, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. No, you have it planned. You invest this time to go from being average to extraordinary. All right. So I know, like you said, you're going to say, I have no time. I get it. We're all busy. I'm busy. I got a lot of kids. I help a lot of people. Jay's got kids. He helps a lot of people. We're trade ourselves. We also do the business side as well. So we're very busy. We get it. But even while I was still working in my restaurant, working some crazy 16, 18-hour days on my feet, I still, even back then, invested at least, it was actually probably on average about 2 hours a day. Some of it was while I was driving. Some of it was during my lunch break. You had to fit it into the nooks and crannies of your life. You have to be full-time on your job, as Jim Rohn says, and part-time on your fortune. And that's what I did, and what's absolutely changed my life. I know Jay has the same experience, and we're going to show you today how you can do that. So just 2 hours a day can move you, and I'm not going to say will because I'm going to be compliant, but it can move you from going through your life, worrying about money, never knowing if you're going to have enough to pay the mortgage, the car breaks down, then the vacation goes out the window. Like, it'll take you from worrying about money to being one of the most highest paid individuals in your category. Whatever it is that you do, whatever it is you're good at, whether it's trading, whether it's building, whether it's working in your corporate job, whether it's owning your own business, it doesn't matter. You're going to become better at that job just by doing what we're going to show you today.
Yeah. And if you guys are in our trading group, you probably heard Michael talk about like his story, right? Where he used to work at Home Depot, and like when he finally made that switch in his head, right? His story is about his daughter, and this is a divergence from what we were talking about, but like he started going out and sitting in the car and listening to book reading or listening to audio tapes, and everybody's like, "Oh, don't talk to that guy. He doesn't like people." Right? He was just making a better life for himself, right? David driving after 16 hours at work, right? Listening to tapes, right? We have people that are driving trucks, over the road truck drivers that are listening to tapes, or not tapes, but listening to our sessions on the recordings, right? Because they can't even look at the charts. You just have to squeeze it in somewhere, right? And like David said, we're gonna show you how to do that. That's what I'm gonna tell you right now. So think about what do most people and what do you do when you're not working, right? Outside of work, right? You come home from your 8-hour-a-day job, and what do a lot of people do? Right? Plop down on the couch, right? Start watching TV. Maybe it's this little devil, right? It sucks up your time. All of a sudden you're just like scrolling through TikTok, and you look at your watch and it's dinner time, and you just lost 2 hours. Social media, just sitting around the house doing nothing, right? Just relaxing. It's people are you come home and you decompress, and you just lose all your productivity, right? So I know people are going to say, like David said, it's extra 2 hours a day, but where are you going to get that in your schedule? So we're going to do some math, right? Get out your thinking caps, and we'll prove to you that there is 2 hours a day in your schedule. There's a lot more than 2 hours a day, but you can find at least 2 hours, right? And all you have to do is do the math. So 7 days a week, right? 24 hours a day, right? That's the most you can get. If you know a way to get more, let me know because I'm all in. But that's 168 hours a week, right? That's all we all have. Nobody has any more. Nobody has any less, right? So take out 40 hours for work, 56 hours that you sleep on average, right? And that leaves 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day that's left, right? Let's say you spend 3 hours a day getting ready for work or driving to work. Maybe you commute, take 3 hours a day out for that. That still leaves 51 hours a week, right? And if you take just 2 hours a day, that's 14. That still leaves you another 37 hours you can do all that other crap with, right? But that's more than 5 hours a day of free time, right? Just what's left. That's even when you've taken the 2 hours, that still leaves 5 hours a day of free time.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, most people don't realize that you have so much more time than you think you do. It gets squandered away. It's so true. And so, some people will be like, well, yeah, that math works if you only have one job, but I do a little side hustle or I have a second job. Literally all you have to do is cut those extra hours in half and you can still find those 2 hours a day. Like Jay said earlier, I was working 16 to 18-hour days. That's 2 full-time jobs, right? And I still found the 2 hours. So don't tell me it can't be done. So if you want to go chairman, if you want to get a 6-figure trading account, if you want to go from average to superior, you have to utilize these 2 hours. And what's the best way to do that? It's continuous learning. Continuous learning. Now, of course, you want to do those. Let's say, for example, you're building the business right on the side. Well, then obviously you have to do some income producing activity. You can't just have your head in the book the whole time. But in general, continuous learning is going to be one of the best things that you can do during this. Maybe you're learning how to trade, right? That's continuous learning. Reading good books, mindset books. Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, T. Harv Eker, what's the other guy? Ryan Holiday, right? There's great people that you can read for personal development. But once you get into this habit of utilizing those 2 hours for self-development, it's going to become a habit. And you're going to look forward to that time. Guess what? Because it's going to be, it's like people who work out, right? After a while, it becomes a habit. You start to look forward to it. Why? Because you're going to get your endorphins going. You're going to feel better. People say, oh, I don't have time. I'm too tired to work out. I don't work out if I'm not tired. I work out to not be tired, right? Working out gives me energy because it just, it gets everything pumping. But it's the same thing with this 2 hours. If once you get into the habit, it's going to invigorate you. It's going to motivate you. You're going to look forward to it every day, because you know that you're becoming the person that you want to be. So,
yeah. And when you do that, you're gonna start seeing progress, right? You're gonna start seeing your life changing. You're gonna start passing other people at work, right? You're gonna start being promoted. Excuse me. You're gonna see better trading results. Whatever you're spending that time focusing on, right? You're gonna start seeing it trickle into other areas of your life, right? And if most people are spending their time watching TV, right? It's on in the morning before they go to work in the background. It's the phone during the day, and then it's binging Netflix at night. David and I were just talking about shows, and he's like, I got sucked into this or that, and that's the perfect word, right? It's like a vacuum that just sucks you in, and that time's gone. You're like, holy smokes, I used to play video games, and then when I was younger, and I didn't play them for years, and then when my boys were teenagers, right, we had like PS4s and Xbox 360s around the house, and like they would get me a game for Christmas, right? And my son's like, it's like an adventure game. I really liked those where it's like you go through and to figure all this stuff out. And like I would like all of a sudden like look at my phone and it's like 4 a.m. Like my wife had gone to bed like 7 hours ago. I just lost like the whole night, and like I have to get up in an hour. Like I'm playing a game. It's just your time just gets sucked away, whatever it is you're doing. So, I mean, it's staying up late. You're not getting enough sleep. I mean, all those things just impact. They're just sucking away your opportunity, and you can be rich or you can be poor, right? It's just a decision, but you can't be both, right? You can be a millionaire. You can have a million excuses, right? But what happens is, and we've talked about this before, is right when you start breaking those promises to yourself, right? You start losing your self-esteem, right? you stop feeling good about yourself, right? And that's when it's just like a catch-22, right? And then you're back to watching the TV because that's where your self-esteem is at, right? You just like you've lost your drive. So at an unconscious level, you don't like what's happening in your life, right? You're not happy with yourself. You don't like yourself. And that's just a result of losing focus, not working on your goals. And then it's just like a slide, right? You just start sliding down that slippery slope.
Yeah, so true. So, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, schedule this time. That's what's so important. All right. You're not going to do it otherwise. I know for me personally, if it's not in my calendar, I'm not going to do it because I don't even think about it. Right. You're just going to be coming home from work. You're probably going to have, be tired or exhausted or whatever. And then you're just going to go straight and you're going to jump on the couch. But if you look at your to-do list, your calendar, and you're like, 2 hours of personal development or 2 hours of working on my business or 2 hours of watching trading education, you can break that up into 30 minutes of personal development and, whatever. You get my point. You need to schedule it. Because for me personally, I cannot go to bed unless it's off my calendar. Like I'll be on the computer some nights and my wife will be like, you know what time it is? It's like, you're usually going to sleep at this time. Like I just got stuff still on my calendar. I still got stuff on my to-do list I got to do. And if you get in a habit of being that person, you'll get it done. And guess what? You'll get tired of going to bed later than you want to get that done. So you're going to make sure that you are more productive with your time. So don't go to bed unless you get it done. Put it in your calendar. And if you invest this time instead of watching TV, you can become an expert in any field. You truly can. So you want to be an expert trader? Would that change your life? 100% it would. Right? So start a season of your life right now. Make a decision that you're going to go a season without the TV. Make that clean break where it doesn't become a habit. You're not addicted to it. I'm not saying you have to go your whole life without watching TV. I enjoy watching a good show. I enjoy spending, the kids, they want to watch they already got their Halloween show picked out, right? We're going to watch it on Halloween, Hocus Pocus 2 and all that, right? I'm going to really enjoy that time with them. But you can't make it. It has to be the exception. It can't be the habit because it's sucking your productivity. If you want a better life, you got to make some changes. The TV can be a great servant, but it's a terrible master. So decide in those 2 hours a day who you want to be and then go get it. All right. So we appreciate everybody watching today. Jay, as always, I appreciate you, brother. But love and appreciate you. Let's see who that is. Somebody said they haven't watched TV in 2 years. It's Emmy. What's up, Emmy? Good to see you. It says Facebook user on StreamYard, so I had to check Facebook. But good to have you on here. And that's a great thing, right? You're going to be so much closer to your goals. If I know you're already hitting a bunch of goals anyway, but just keep it up, and that's a great thing to do. So have a great weekend, everybody. We appreciate you, and we'll see you back next week. Take care. God bless.